am here for my very first story time video. I know there's like a different setting. There is no sun out today and I did not feel like pulling out all of my white light stuff and all of that. I'm just feeling kind of like just chatting. I guess that's kind of what a story time video is, right? Just a little chat with you guys. So yes, my makeup does look a little weird. I waxed my whole face today, but that's not what we're talking about. So first of all, if you guys like this video at the end, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like this video at the end, then let me know in the comments below or give me suggestions or whatever you guys want. So like you guys can tell from the title down below, this is the first time I got arrested and actually like in trouble with the law. I'm gonna start off by saying I do not condone anything that I did, but also I was a kid. You know what I mean? Every kid is gonna do stuff and every kid's gonna experiment or do, not kid, like teenager, I would think would be more of the appropriate age group for that. But, so yes, I did get arrested when I was 15 years old. I used to sneak out of my mother's house at least every other weekend. That's when I was there. And I just didn't like being there or whatever, didn't like the environment, so I would just sneak out every night. And I would take her car and drive. It started happening when I was 14 and continued into when I was 15. Early into being 15, I ended up taking her car one night to go pick up one of my friends who we were going to do something not exactly appropriate, but picked up one of my friends and we were going to just hang out, whatever. So I was on my way and I thought I knew how to get there. I thought I was taking the right highway, you know, everything like that. My mom had a little yellow punch buggy, so it wasn't like a car that was sketchy or anything like that. So I was driving on the highway and I ended up seeing highway signs that were other cities. And I was like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be staying in my city. I'm at the wrong place. So right off the bat, I went through a toll booth and I'm pulled over on the highway and I'm searching the car for money. There was absolutely no change, no money in the car. So I automatically think, shit, like I am in for it. What am I gonna say? So I pulled up and I kind of explained my situation. You know, I have no idea where I'm going. How do I get back to, you know, exit whatever on this certain highway and everything like that. And he was super, super nice. It was probably like 1 o'clock in the morning. He was like, listen, you're gonna go this way, this way, this way. Don't worry about the toll charge. I will, you know, let you get off and then get back through. So I was like, okay, awesome. So I get off of the next exit, pull off the ramp, driving, you know. At this point, I'm not nervous driving. I've already been doing it for a year and a half now, you know, taking my mom's car driving, whatever. So I ended up getting off the highway and I drove past probably like 5 or 6 cops that night and none of them were suspicious, none of them followed me, nothing like that. I have to say, and knock on wood, I'm a really good driver. You know, I was really good back then and I had an older sister who, you know, and older friends who would let me drive their cars and who basically taught me when I was 13, 14 years old. So I already had known how to drive. Not saying that it was safe or anything like that. People could have really gotten hurt. I could have really gotten hurt. You know, totally different scenarios could have happened. But about like the 6th cop car that I saw, he turned his blues on. So of course I was like, shit, like I am in for it. So I had my phone, you know, I texted my boyfriend at the time and I was like, oh my God, I just got pulled over by the cops. And like totally just put my phone away, whatever. Or no, you know what? I did have my phone, but I couldn't text him. I think I texted my dad. I think I texted that to my dad. And, because I was actually grounded. But I put my phone to the side and I was like, crap. Because in the car, there was also drugs that were not mine. They weren't mine. But I did notice it when I was rummaging through all of the car to find the money. So I was like, shit, they're gonna think this is mine. Who's gonna believe a teenager? You know what I mean? So now I have Grand Theft Auto and drugs on me. And this is all like running through my mind as the blues are on. So pull the car over. Cop gets out of the car, knocks on the window, and he's like, hi, can I have your license and registration? And of course, dumbass Hailey is like, oh, I don't have my license on me. And he's like, okay, well, how old are you? And I was like, 16. And he's like, okay, well, let me just like put your name in, blah, blah, blah. So he's like, what's your name? So I just was like, shit, this is it. Like, there's no way that I can get past this. So I was like, actually, I just turned 15. And he was like, okay, I need you to step out of the vehicle. He's like, do you know why I pulled you over? And I was like, no, I have no idea. And he's like, your taillight's out. I was just coming here to give you a warning. So of course then I'm like, stupid Hailey, you should have checked the car. Well, stupid Hailey, you should have been driving, but stupid Hailey, you should have checked the car. So anyways, I hop out of the car. You know, he makes me give him my cell phone and any other like weapon type thing that could be on me or whatever. Or like, I guess the cell phone I could have thrown at him, whatever the case may be. So I handed him my cell phone and he was like, who does this car belong to? And I said, it's my mother's car. You know, I stay at her house every other weekend or whatever. And he's like, okay, well, you're gonna need to call your mom or I'm gonna need to call your mom. And I was like, no, we're not calling my mom. Like, my mother and I had absolutely no relationship, and if you guys watch my past videos, you guys can know that or whatever. And obviously if you have questions down below, I am more than happy to answer any of them, but we had like no relationship at all. I was like, you can call my dad. And so he's like, okay, like we'll call your dad first, let's get this all figured out. So I was like, are you going to search the car? Because now the drugs are in my mind. I'm like, are you gonna search the car? And he was like, yeah, you know, it's protocol, we're gonna search the car and then it's gonna get impounded. So at this point, I just was straight up, because honestly, if you are in a cop situation, I do feel like being honest is the best way to get the best outcome. At least that's how I feel. I've always been totally honest with them. Cops have helped me and helped my family a numerous amount of times. I cannot say enough for them. But I'm definitely not a cop hater. Not like all these, like that's the new thing is like hating cops. Anyways, I'm not a cop hater. So I just told him the truth. I was like, listen, there's drugs in the car. I swear they are not mine. They're my mom's, I would assume, because they're in her car. And he hit me with, do you know how many times teenagers tell us that? And I'm like, crap. Like, this is the worst case scenario. So anyways, I just kind of shut my mouth, went in the back of the car. He called another partner in, and he came up to me. It was now time to call my dad. So I was like, okay, well, I already shot him a text, but he didn't wake up to it. It was, at this point, you know, 1 a.m. So I got on my phone, and I was like, Dad. And of course I started bawling. My dad and I are so close, and I hate disappointing him. So right then I just started crying, and I was like, Dad, I got arrested, I got pulled over, and I was just telling him the whole story, and he's like, okay, calm down, calm down. My dad is a super, you know, calm, understanding person, so he's like, calm down, it's okay. Where are you? I gave him all that. He's like, are you okay? Like, I'll meet you there, I'm gonna come pick you up, but I need to go get your mom first, so I need to call her. So I was like, okay. Then he talked with the police officer. No idea what they said. But anyways, then we had to go back to the station. They brought me into the station, so I'm little freaking 15-year-old Hailey walking into the station. I've never gotten caught with anything before. You know, I was really sneaky and really smart teenager, I like to say, which probably isn't a good thing, but then again it is. So they brought me into the station, and they were like, listen, you know, we're gonna fingerprint you, we are going to, you know, take a picture, all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, like crap, now I have a record. So I'm like, okay, that's fine, like understandable, cool, just like tell me what to do. So they ended up sitting me in like a spinny chair because there was a combative drunk person in the tank. So they obviously didn't want to put me in there with him. And then they were doing fingerprinting, but there was also a dangerous person in that part. So they ended up not even fingerprinting me and taking a picture, nothing. They didn't end up doing nothing. So, or anything. So then, after about an hour and a half, my dad ended up coming into the station, and they had told me that there wasn't enough of the drugs in the car to charge me with anything, even though it wasn't mine. It was so frustrating. But there wasn't enough to charge me with it, which was like a freaking, you know, gift from God, basically. And then we had talked to my dad and everything, and they let me go home. They gave me a court date, everything like that. So then I ended up coming back here to my dad's house. I automatically wrote him an apology letter, gave it to him. At the court date now, my mother had passed away by now. It was probably, when was it? Maybe a couple months after I took the car, maybe 1 or 2 months after I took the car, she ended up passing away. And at this point, you know, everything was with her name on it because it was her vehicle. So when my dad showed up to the court date, the judge kind of had an issue with that as representing, you know, her side. He was like, you know, if this is her mother, where is her mother? So my lawyer at the time, you know, had brought it to his attention that my mother was no longer with us, everything like that. So then the judge felt like an asshole. You know what I mean? Which obviously he's going to, because he had no idea. So I ended up getting 30 hours of community service, and they were supposed to tell the DMV that I couldn't drive until I was 21, which, another gift from God, the DMV was not notified. And I want to say because the judge was kind of an ass, and he kind of like took himself back and was like, wow, like I can't believe that I just like brought this all up again, like when this girl just lost her mother, or whatever he thought. And then I was also supposed to write an apology letter to my mother, but I had ended up already writing it to my dad, so they accepted that one. And that's pretty much what happened. Nothing else really came from it. You know, I did my community service. I was already volunteering, so I just did it in my church how I had normally been doing it, and that got signed off, and then here I am, 21. I got my license when I was 16, but it was definitely like a crazy, crazy night. I ended up never picking up my friend. I ended up never taking a car again. I waited till I was 16 to drive, but it was crazy. It was crazy. And I feel like everyone has these situations and these stories to tell when they were younger. I know I have so many wild, crazy, insane stories that just like show immaturity and, you know, how far a person has come once they've grown up. And just to think like, holy crap, I would never do that. I'm so scared to do that right now. There are so many, you know, penalties. I don't even know what they would be called, or whatever they're called. There are so many things that could go wrong if I were to do that, you know, at 21 years old. But it's definitely a story. You know, it didn't ruin my life by any means, but it is out there, and that is the story of the first time that I got arrested. So hopefully that was the first and the last time, hopefully. But yeah, totally crazy. So let me know if you guys are interested in more of these story time videos. Leave it down below. Or if you guys have other topics you want me to do on story time. For example, you know, the first time I had sex, which was not pretty. Or, you know, the first time I don't even know. Whatever you guys want to do. But let me know down below, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye, guys.